president's proposing to cap college tuition, tie some financial aid to tuition rates. Is that going anywhere? Is that
No.
a plea for the youth vote? How do you see that?
That's a plea for the youth vote, and it's not going anywhere because we're not, it's an effort to put price controls onto universities, again, by if you do, it's a little bit like the waiver issue, so maybe not exactly, but it's a little bit like that. If you do what I want you to do, then you get the money. If you don't do what I want you to do, you don't get the money. And his proposals, I know this is a tired metaphor analogy, are all over the map. I mean, he's got a little deal here where he wants to address the issue of rising tuition and fees by saying if you don't do something about it, you're not going to have the access to the Perkins loans. And so he's got that sort of thing going. And by the way, he wants to take Perkins from $1 billion to $8 billion. Okay, well, where does that money come from? And then he says, well, student debt is too high and the interest rate is going to jump from 3.4 to 6.8, so I want a one-year extension. He's very fond of these one-year extensions. I get you, well, pass the election. There's no explanation of where that money is going to come from. Nobody wants high interest rates on student loans, but frankly, the Pelosi Congress set this up from the very, very beginning. They took the student loan interest, took all the student loans and moved it over to the Department of Education. It's about $120 billion a year of lending. And in the process, they started to lower that interest rate. They pushed it down to 3.4. They knew always that there was a cliff and that it was going to go back up. So they set it up that way. And now they're surprised that, just like the law says, the interest rates are going to go back up and the president wants to extend it. That's billions of dollars in cost to keep it at 3.4 instead of 6.8, and there's no explanation of how he's going to pay for that. So he's got that going. He's got the Pell Grants, which he wants to raise the maximum amount, which gets raised automatically but for cost of living, but going to take some credit for that. So he has a number of things, and then he has a consolidation deal. You could get 0.5% of a break if you consolidate, if you have direct lending loan and a FEL loan, and if you consolidate those direct. He's got stuff all over the place, and it's not clear that some of that is meaningful. Doesn't affect very many people. Some of that, the loan, the repayment deal where he wants to take you from 15% to 10% of your disposable income, and if you haven't paid back in 20 years, you get it forgiven instead of 25 years. I don't know how much more stuff he can put out there, but and we obviously look at all of those things, being the education committee, but I'd like the answers to some of those things. How's that going to work and how are you going to pay for that? Where's the money going to come from? And like extending the interest rate 3.4 for another year, then the question would be, and then what? Then what are you going to do? Well, I don't know.